And fitting, today we're talking about the Hamsa breath. And Hamsa translates to some sort of water bird. So sometimes we call it a swan, but in India, it's a different kind of swan. Okay. But the Hamsa bird there's many beautiful stories around the Hamsa bird. And one way it's translated is to the bird of the soul. Okay. So Hamsa, when you breathe, inhale hum, exhale sa, it eventually starts to sound like, this breath starts to sound like so hum, which translates to I am that. And whenever we're doing any kind of breath work, the breath work takes us to our heart. And in yoga, we call that the seat of the soul, right? So that is why it is so important to maintain the integrity of our breath, not just on the mat, but notice also off the mat. When do we start to become shallow in our breath? We cut off our breath, we cut ourselves off from our true nature. And so one of the many stories of the Hamsa bird, and this is the main one, is that the Hamsa bird can separate water from milk. In other words, okay, we'll take it into the science of the water birds can separate pure water from murky water. So our conditioning that we have in this world, just to exist, right, live, we take on a bit of conditioning. And when you're in a soulful practice and you're in tune with your heart, you're better able to, just like the bird has a sieve, we're able to separate what's conditioning and what's our true self. So even when you're on your mat, you might notice there can be some conditioning that comes on. Oh, I need to do the pose like this. It needs to look like Instagram, right? Or, if you're in a group class, we're supposed to be on our mat focusing on ourselves, but sometimes you're like, oh man, I wish I could do that. This is all external chatter that takes us away from our own truth. And even as you're practicing today, you might find that some postures that usually come more easy for you might be a little bit different. Like maybe you've been doing something different, like sitting a lot more or whatever, and things are a little bit more challenging. And so we're able to separate what we want it to be, what it was, and take it for how it is. And I think that's a really great message for this point in time also, because things are very different. And the only control that we do have is that connection to our inner self. So maybe if this is making sense to you, just try to stay with your practice as it is today, and practice truthfully from your heart. I wore my love shirt today, and I have hearts all over my leggings. I'm really themed out over here. But as you're practicing, set your own intention. How do you want it to be? And then just try to maintain the integrity of your breath. Okay? And then if you want to use that mantra, inhale so, exhale hum, right? As you're breathing, I am that. So I am that is what you are. Okay? Not what external says you are, not the labels that we have, but what we are beyond our physical body. Okay? So again, the Hamsa, as you breathe, Hamsa eventually moves into so hum, which is the sound of the breath. So to go ahead, one thing that you might want, if you don't have it, is a block or a book, something like that, because we're going to play some brain games where we pass the block or the book, okay, and let the brain work together. We're going to do that a few times and kind of play. This is a more watery class, okay? So I'm going to offer some fluid, flowy movements, but if you need more grounding, if the flowing makes you feel a little bit too out of control, just stay with your rooted and grounded practice, okay? All right, so now go ahead and come onto your mat if you're not already in a seated position. And you can go ahead and start your playlist if you'd like. If you're going to use music, you can go ahead and start that. You're now coming into a seated position. I'm sitting on top of a block. I've got my hips above my knees. That helps the psoas muscles start to release. You maybe rotate the palms up, reach through the crown of the head. So it gives you a little bit more space in your diaphragm. And take a big inhale through your nose and a big exhale through your mouth. And then begin to inhale and exhale through the nose only. And thinking inhale, so, exhale, hum. Inhale, so, pause at the top of the breath. Exhale, hum. And just continuing with that mantra. And if it feels better to you, instead of thinking inhale, so, exhale, hum, you can think inhale, I am, exhale, that. And now staying with that breath, you can keep the eyes closed or open them, turn the palms down. And as you inhale, you're gonna reach the heart forward, gazing up. You're creating space along the chest. And as you exhale, round, chin to chest. So the flowing movement with your spine. Inhale, move it forward. Exhale, close. And maybe you start to get a little bit more movement in your pelvis as well. You might have a little movement, a lot of movement. Again, it depends on how much water element you have in your body. I'm going to remove my block. Okay. And then from there, we're going to start to add a little bit more movement. So as you exhale and hinge forward, and inhale, shift it back. You're continuing with that movement at the pace of your own breath. Maybe switch directions. Again, maybe inhaling so, exhaling hum. And coming back to a neutral position. Inhale, and reach those arms forward, clasp the hands, press the palms towards the sky. It's okay if your hands don't come together, and you might bring the arms forward. Doesn't have to be straight overhead. And you notice my elbows are a little bit bent. Exhale, release, and take your right hand behind you. Inhale, left arm up. Exhale, coming into your twist. Do inhale, lengthening the spine. Exhale as you twist. Bring the gaze forward. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, left hand behind. Inhale, right arm up. Exhale, twist. And resist the urge to push and pull into that twist. Allow it to be organic. Inhale, lengthening the spine. Exhale as you twist. Bringing the gaze forward. Rest of the body follows. Okay. So from here, we're going to take your block. So it's kind of some brain games. So you're going to take your block behind you, up, over, and grab on. Okay, so just passing. So your brain has to work together. But kind of balancing both hemispheres of the brain as you do this. Let's see if I can switch directions. So even as I practice this, it's challenging. to get my brain to work. So the more coordinated you are, the probably easier this is. If you're less coordinated like me, it becomes a little bit more challenging. But as we do these brain games, it automatically balances both hemispheres of the brain and brings us into the present. Okay, it brings a little bit of a calming effect too. So we're gonna take those blocks, place them to the side. And we're gonna go ahead and come to all fours in tabletop position. I'm gonna press through my palms, engage the belly, lengthen through the crown of the head. Inhale, extend, left leg behind. Exhale, knee to nose. I'm gonna bring that leg all the way through into a low lunge. You want your knee above your ankle or slightly behind. Back knee, you might be right here, right? Depends on your pelvis and your hip flexors. Maybe the knee goes back a little bit more, you choose. Okay, back toes can be curled under or down. I'm gonna inhale, lengthen through the heart. Maybe stay low or maybe start to rise. Hands to thigh, or inhale, reach it up, or even grabbing your blocks. Now, if you have a lot of flexibility, you might be pressing the pelvis to the earth a little bit more. You still want to have some structure there. So we're going to lift up through the pelvic floor. So kind of engage a little bit so that you're not just pressing those hips down. So those of you with more water element, right, more flexibility, you want to add a little bit more of that earth element in there, a little bit more structure. Couple more breaths. And exhale, right hand down, left arm up, gazing up at your thumb, lifting up out of that bottom shoulder. And notice if you're kind of, as you're twisting to the outside of that front foot. If you are, take that foot out to the side a little bit more so you can really root down through the four corners of the feet. If you want to add a little bit more heat, feel free to come up off that right knee. And exhale, left hand down. And from here, we're going to step it back to plank. So you can have both knees down in plank if you'd like, or curl the toes under, coming up. So to engage those thigh muscles, reach through the crown of the head. Again, any variation. Let's keep pressing through the palms. Again, notice when you start to hold your breath. If you hold your breath, make an adjustment to your practice. Right? So that breath is what we're focusing on. Inhale, so exhale, hum. Now, as you exhale, lower. So either chaturanga if you're ready, or all the way down to your belly. Palms underneath the shoulders. Inhale, reach the heart forward, tops of the feet down, resist the urge to squeeze the glutes. Allow the glutes just to relax a little bit. They will engage enough for your body automatically. Press through the palms, exhale back, balasana or child's pose. Getting long from the hip all the way through the pinky finger. Inhale back to tabletop position. We get to do the other side. Inhale, right leg behind. Exhale, knee to nose, and then bring that leg through however you need to. Either you use your hand, however you got to get there. And again, you want to adjust this side. It might be a little bit different. You can stay low, you can build it. Maybe arms overhead, or keep them at your heart. More intensity, you're going to take those arms up. Less intensity, the arms come down to heart or hip. All the way through class. You play with that. Again, notice if you're really dipping those hips down, lengthen up. Keep some structure there in the pelvis. Exhale, hands to the earth. Left hand down, right arm up. So you're coming into your twist. So again, if you're twisting to the outside of your foot, take your foot out to the side so you can really root down. And that bottom shoulder might be rolling forward. Lift up out of it. Grab a block if you need. Again, back knee can stay down or draw it up, engaging that left thigh. Couple more breaths. Again, maybe feel the heat. Notice what's happening to your practice. Full awareness. And exhale, hand to the earth. Curl the back toe under or keep it down. Step it back. Your plank. Exhale, lower, chaturanga or all the way down. Inhale, cobra, or if you'd like, press through the palms, lift through the heart. Now notice if your shoulders are kind of rising up towards your ears. If that's happening, come back down. Right? So when you use that structure, pressing through the palms, keep the shoulders stable. This time, I'm going to curl the toes under, exhale, downward facing. And you're going to use your core, engage it, lift, take that tailbone up, up, up. Tailbone high to the sky, pressing through the palms. Maybe your knees are bent a little or a lot here. Right? Doesn't have to be straight. Again, we're all unique and we're meeting ourselves where we are today. Gaze between those hands, exhale, float or step it forward, forward fold. Maybe those knees are bent, maybe they're not. We're gonna press through the feet, engage the belly, maybe hands to your hips. Inhale, rise all the way up. This Surya Namaskar A, just to build a little heat. Lift up through the pelvis. Maybe the arms are up, maybe cactus arms. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold, belly, ribs, chest to the thigh. Inhale, lift half, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold. Plant the hands down, step it back to your plank, knees down or not. Exhale, lower, chaturanga, or all the way. Inhale, low or high back bend. Exhale, Adho Mukha, use that core, downward facing. Gaze between the hands, exhale, step or float it. Inhale, lift half. Exhale, fold. Root through the feet, inhale, rise. Back bend to the top. Exhale, fold. Your pace, your breath. Inhale, lift half. Exhale, fold. Plant the hand, step or float it. Chaturanga or all the way down, your choice. Inhale, your back bend. Exhale, Adho Mukha. Now from here, we're going to stay here, press through the palms. Inhale, left leg up. It's active. So you're going to press that foot back. Exhale, knee to nose. However you've got to get it there, bring that foot all the way through, starting in your low lunge. Back knee can always come back down if you'd like. We're going to engage that thigh muscle, press through the feet. Inhale, rise. This time, crescent. Now, if your back knee's bent a little bit, imagine there's a block behind that right heel. Press that heel into that imaginary block to see if you can engage that thigh muscle. Notice if that front knee is kind of shooting forward. You want to kind of move it back a little bit. And then another thing to look for is noticing if you're kind of dipping into that right hip. So you want to engage that so you're lifting up. So less is more. We want to be able to breathe space through the whole body. Now we're going to add some movement here. So we're going to exhale, take that energy forward. Inhale, rise. And you can use your mantra with that if you'd like. Inhale, so, exhale, hum. Flowing movement. Right? If that doesn't feel right for you, just hold, right? Figure out what's the best. Now from here, we're gonna reach it forward, take your hands to your block, back leg comes up. So we're working on warrior 3. So from here, you wanna kind of make sure that you're rooting through both feet and you can bend into that supporting leg if you'd like. So maybe holding there and try to press that heel to the sky. You're gonna feel that right glute engage. And if you wanna add the brain movement, take your block, reach the block around, reach it forward. Remember which direction you're going because you're gonna do the other direction on the other side. So you choose, use the brain game or hold. Maybe the arms are forward or back. Couple breaths to play. You've got your block release. Take that back foot all the way down. Inhale, reach the arms up. Right hand to the earth or a block. Left arm up. Now, back knee can come down if you'd like. Couple of options. Stay here, or if you want to lift your torso, lift your torso, add a little bit more into that twist. Your choice, couple more breaths. And maybe you start to feel the heat building, right? So if you're overheated, come out, right? Don't forget your breath. Keep breathing. And exhale, sweep that hand down. We're gonna go through your flow, or just step it back into downward facing dog. You don't have to do the flow, you can skip that. Meeting me in downward facing. Big cleansing breath. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Reset that breath. Inhale, right leg up. So super active, pressing through both feet. Exhale, knee to nose. However you've got to get that foot through, bring it. Start to build your crescent. Press through the feet, inhale, rise. So again, as we're setting up the foundation, notice if you're gripping into your toes. Try to lift your toes. You're rooting down through the four corners of that front foot and pressing back through that back heel. The kind of opposing action that's happening. Now adding a little bit of movement. Inhale, so, exhale, hum. Inhale, so, exhale, hum. And moving at the pace of your own breath. Couple more. Last one. We're going to take those arms forward. Get ready for that back foot to come up. To find that warrior three. So again, you can bend into that supporting leg, try to flex through both feet. If that back foot's just hanging out, that pelvis is unstable. So flex that foot like you're pressing the wall away. Now adding, again, opposite hand. If you want to add past the block, opposite hand working. Okay, or hold. Again, hands down, back, forward, your choice. Few more breaths. If you're using your block, go ahead and release it, place it to the ground. Step it back, inhale there. Exhale, left hand down, right arm up. So you're coming into that twist. So again, if you're twisting and you're coming to the outside of your foot like I am, you're gonna take that foot out a little bit wider. Again, back knee can be down. Torso can stay just like this, or if you wanna add, lift your torso, your choice. You play with it. And if there's ever anything I'm not cueing that you wanna do, it's your practice, go for it. Again, that's the whole purpose of yoga, is to live from the heart, from what we need, rather than just listening to the external cues and conditioning. Couple more breaths. And exhale, windmill it out. Vinyasa, go through your flow or step it back, downward facing or child's pose, your choice. All right, so we're gonna do a different flow this time. I've kind of mixed it up this week, doing a little bit different. But before we start, 3 cleansing breaths, either in downward facing dog or child's pose. Inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. Now gaze in between those hands. Exhale, step it forward or float it forward. Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, lift half. Exhale, fold. Bend into your knees, press through the feet. Inhale, rise. Fierce pose. We got a little bit of a flowing movement here. So as you exhale and a hinge forward, right hand back, left arm forward. Root through the feet. Inhale, rise, little cactus arms. Exhale, bend into the knees, left hand back, right arm forward. Root down, inhale, rise, back bend if you'd like. Several more just like that, flowing with your breath. Again, this is some brain games here because you got to remember which hand you're using, which arm's going forward, which going back. Okay, last one. Bend the knees, exhale, fold, belly, ribs, chest. Inhale, lift half. Exhale, fold, plant the hands, step it back. Go through your flow or just stay right there in downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg up. Exhale, bring that foot all the way through. Spiral the back heel down. Toes in, heel out. Press through the feet. Inhale, rise. Vira 2, warrior 2 pose. Now, as you come into it, maybe open the feet up a little bit wider. Okay, and notice where you're feeling it in your adductors. Okay, you want to feel equal amount of activity through both legs. If you don't, take one leg back a little bit more. You want your front knee above your ankle or slightly behind, right? Rather than shooting forward, palms down or up. So you start to notice that subtle energy of how it feels with the palm down, usually a little bit more grounding, palms up a little lighter. So you can choose what feels best. On an inhale, we're going to sweep that left arm up, now opening up the side body in the ribs, reaching fingertip to fingertip, lifting up. Okay, it's just because you're shifting and crunching this side, you still want to have length there. Right? So both sides are equally important. Maybe the hands down, maybe it's up. Right? Maybe clasp them, play. Maybe you straighten the knee and then bend it. Right? Add a little bit more water element. Couple more breaths. Inhale up, exhale, side angle. So forearm to the thigh or bottom hand to a block or the earth. Top arm can stay up or maybe over your ear. So you're getting nice and long in the ribs. Notice if you're kind of dipping in, like rolling that top shoulder down. If you're rolling the top shoulder down, you might need to lift up out of that bottom arm a little bit. You can gaze up, forward, or down. Your choice. Couple more breaths. And then we're gonna add here a little flowing movement if it feels right to you. Root down through the feet, inhale, rise, reverse, straighten the front knee if you'd like. Exhale, side angle. Root to rise, inhale, reverse, straighten the front knee if you'd like. Exhale, side angle. Root to rise, inhale, reach. Exhale, side angle. From there, root through the feet, inhale, rise, heels in, toes out. Yes, and a root, reach to the fingertips. Then spiral, heels out, toes in. Hands to your hip, Inhale, lengthen through the heart. Exhale, fold. We're hinging in the hips. So notice if you start to round into your spine. If that happens, bend your knees. Slowly fold. Spine stays long. So hands can come to block or the earth. Feel free to reach the arms to the side and maybe the other side, adding a little bit of flowing movement, or just hold stable. Couple more breaths. And all the way back to the front, low lunge, step it back, downward facing, or go through a flow, your choice. Inhale, right. Exhale, take that leg through. Back foot spirals, root to rise. Inhale, warrior two. And again, adjust as you find that foundation, the above the ankle or slightly behind. Checking that back foot. See how your knee feels. Wherever your foot's placed, your knee is going to feel solid, right? So maybe that's slightly in for you. Palms down or up. And on an inhale to reverse. So again, front knee can stay bent or maybe reach it back, right? Arms where it makes sense to you, whatever feels good. Gazing where it feels right. Maybe adding that movement or not. And exhale, side angle. So again, forearm to the thigh or hand to the block. And you can do in front of the foot or behind, like in Ashtanga, they do behind. You can play with that. Again, you want your heart open. So if you're dipping into that bottom shoulder or the top shoulder, lift it back up. Doesn't matter how low that hand is. Again, it's internal cueing rather than external look of things. How does it feel? Now you're welcome to hold or add some movement. Root through the feet, inhale, rise, reverse, and maybe straighten the front knee or keep it bent. Exhale, side angle. Root to the feet, inhale, rise. Couple more. And take your vinyasa if you'd like, or step it back, downward facing. Inhale, we're gonna shift it forward. Exhale, bring those knees down. Okay. So to work on that inner core line, instead of coming into a side plank. Now you can do knee down side plank, right? Play there, right? Or curl those toes under, shift. Okay. And if you take a block in between your thighs and squeeze that block, it's going to stabilize your hip. Right? So wherever it makes sense to you, any variation, if you want to come into tree or piece fingers to toes and extend, whatever feels best. Get that inner core line. Again, knee down if you're holding your breath. Stay connected with the breath. It's breath first, posture second. The breath is going to support your posture. You know, life is hard enough that, you know, than straining. There's a fine line in your posture. You want to work to build, but you also want to maintain the breath. Get that breath where you really have to think about it. And exhale, release. Go through a flow or stay here in the center. Get ready for the other side. And when you're ready, new side, new experience. Again, knee can stay down, top leg up, overhead, or your full side plank. I like to look down a lot because it makes me feel grounded. My teachers are always like, look up, look up. I'm like, I want a different view. I want to breathe. So you figure out what works for you. Couple more breaths to play. And exhale. Out of it, go through a flow or back into child's pose. And everyone meet in child's pose, 3 cleansing breaths. Inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. Couple more. Reset that breath. And now coming all the way onto your belly, feel free to grab, I would use this, but this is harder, these cork blocks. So I'm gonna grab my lighter block or a book or whatever you wanna pass behind you if you're gonna play some more brain games. This is the last one. So you've got this belly down, top of the feet down, hands underneath the shoulders, and lifting through the heart. So maybe this is enough, right? And so the thing with back bends, if you're feeling any restriction in that lower back, take your pubic bone and tilt the pubic bone into the belly button in the direction of the belly button. That gives you a little bit more support. And again, resist the urge to squeeze the glutes. You want to keep the big toe and the pinky toe down, just like that. You start there. Maybe this is enough, and maybe you add some flowing inhale up, exhale down if you want to do that. Now, if you want to add a little bit more, lift the feet. You can take your block, reach the block around, reach it forward, right? So you can kind of play with that. If you're breathing, you're going to be bobbing up and down like you're on water. Switch directions, see what happens. Is it awkward? Because you probably started with the side that makes more sense for your body, right? Whether you're more right-brained or left-brained. If you're more right, you might have started on your left. And release it. Hands underneath the shoulders. Exhale, press back, child's pose. Big inhale, so exhale, hum. Inhale, I am, exhale, that. Then inhale to come up to tabletop position. So we're starting our yin portion of the class. And swan pose. Before when I teach pigeon pose, I always start with swan because that's what my teacher Karen Pryor taught us. Because when you start in swan, it allows for stability in the pelvis. It keeps you from hiking into that knee or into that lower back. Now, those of you with any knee disharmony, you might end up coming onto your back for this rather than having the pressure on your knee. So if you have knee disharmony, you can come onto your back and you'll be practicing pigeon like so. Our supported swan will be here first, okay? So from tabletop position, you bring your left leg through. And I'm gonna sit on my heel, knee forward, fingertips down, lift through the heart. Now my back foot, curl the back toe under. And as you do that, press the wall away behind you. That's gonna get into your hip flexor, that psoas muscle a little bit more, that fight or flight muscle, and help stabilize the hip. Now from there, the back knee down, top of the foot down, so shoelaces down, bottom foot, bring that foot across the midline of the body, resisting the urge to dip to the side, right? Now, some of you might be really high. If you're really high, take your block, sit on your block, okay? Inhale, lengthen through the heart. Those of you that want to add a little bit more of a back bend, feel free to bend your back knee, reach back for your foot, do your little mermaid or your king pigeon if you've got that. I've never gotten that. My body says no. Whatever you need. So we're here, inhale here. And exhale, take your surrender fold. Inhaling so, exhaling hum. Now, here's the thing with pigeon. Pigeon represents laying down or surrendering the ego, right? So if we're trying to know what our true essence and we're trying to do it, separate external conditioning from our true nature, then we have to notice when we need to surrender the ego. Now, you don't want to surrender your ego all the way, it'll become a total doormat and couch potato, right? So you want to keep some of that ego for when you need it. You need it for the real world, but we can still walk around the real world with a open heart from our true essence the best we can and still have those boundaries, right? So I love pigeon that it represents. I'm going to lay it down. And it's okay if you need to get puffed up with your ego on occasion, because there's a healthy ego that supports you. Couple more breaths. Now from here, you can bring your hands underneath the shoulders. Inhale, slowly rise. Shift your weight to that back seat. If you're on the ground, you might come back up if you're on your back. I want to come into almost this 90-degree angle with our legs, okay? So from here, we're going to inhale, lengthen through the spine, exhale, twist, maybe take a bow. Maybe you come all the way down, maybe you're up a little bit higher. And bring the hands underneath the shoulders. Inhale, slowly rise, and come back to center. Soles of the feet together, maybe sitting on a blanket. If you want to fold forward, that might be nice. Remember, you want to rotate pelvis around the femur bone. We've been working on this a lot through classes since we started. You're going to lift through the heart, exhale, fold. Now, those of you that have a little bit more flexibility and you want to go ahead and extend your legs, go ahead and extend your legs in that wide leg forward fold like we did standing earlier, but keep those feet active, right? And notice where you're feeling it in the adductor. Again, meat of the muscle, not up in the groin area, not behind the knee, okay? Right in the meat of the muscle. If you're feeling more than that, bend your knees or ease out of the pose. Couple more breaths. Doesn't matter how low you are. Engage the belly. Inhale, slowly rise. We're going to sweep our feet behind us, coming up to tabletop position. Again, we're going to start in swan and then move into your pigeon pose. If you do need to come onto your back, feel free to do that now. We're going to draw that right knee in, sitting on your heel. So I'm rooting down through my fingertips, lifting through the heart. So you're building this little back bend. Curl the back toe under, flex through that foot. Okay? So again, we're puffing up our ego here. Back knee down, top of the foot down, bottom foot across the midline. Again, if you're shifting to the side or down into this side, grab a block. You want to have support and structure in that pelvis. Again, maybe you're staying here and you're adding a little bit more back bend, reaching back for your bent knee, your foot, whatever you need. Inhale, lengthen. Those of you that are surrendering that ego, exhale, fold. Now, one of the things about the ego is listening to this external chatter that if I make a decision that I want to make from my heart, people might not approve of it. Now, as long as we're not hurting anyone. But following the heart isn't always comfortable because of all this external conditioning. And so if we're coming from that so-hum place, that I am that, it's embracing exactly where we are. And sometimes it's not comfortable. Just like this pose is sometimes not comfortable. Couple more breaths. Now to exit out of the pose, we're gonna take those hands underneath, inhale, rise. We're gonna shift to our seat. Again, we're coming into 90-degree angles. It's a deer pose in yin, a deer pose. We're gonna inhale, lengthen through the spine, exhale as you twist. So again, maybe you stay high, maybe you start to lower. Okay? You might hike up on top of that right hip a little bit. Again, inhale to where you feel tension, exhale, let it go. Full, deep, spacious breath. Bringing those hands underneath, inhale, rise. Now, we're gonna play with this. So I'm always talking about, children are the least self-conscious, right? Because the younger we are, the closer to our true essence that we are, okay? And so I always, children play. When they play, they're exploring and they're moving into that true essence. Everything else kind of floats away. And as we grow older, you find your hobbies or things that you enjoy that kind of it makes you feel the best you, whatever that is. And so what we're going to do is kind of try to play with this. Now, it can be a little bit awkward, but you might choose just to stay and be still. Otherwise, we're going to try to bring that water element. So we're going to come back to the side again. Inhale, rise, come back to center, kind of shake your feet back to the other side, take a bow. Inhale, come back to center, shake it all around. Exhale, bow. So I did a class this week and we did this and I thought it was so much fun. But this is a different kind of yin yoga. Polly Zink, I think his name is. And I did this in Linda's class. So now I want to train with this guy. You maybe get a little bit crazy and come into that balancing bear in the center. And then other side, whatever feels best. Couple more. One more on each side. Why not? I'm having fun. And back to center. All right, so I'm going to bend those knees. Maybe move side to side. And then coming into that seated mountain as you exhale to slowly lower, taking your time. If you have any lower back disharmony, maybe bring your hands down. You slowly make your way all the way onto your back. And from here, if you feel like doing another back bend, you can press through the palms, lift through the heart, keep that gaze up towards the sky, maybe finding your bridge pose. You've got wheel in your practice, feel free to come into your wheel pose. And watch any tendency for those heels to move in and the toes to move out. We're going to rotate heels out, toes in. That's going to open up your sacrum area, give you a little bit more space in the pelvis. Couple more breaths. And exhale, slowly lower, keeping the spine nice and long as you lower. Draw the knees into your chest. Extending right leg out, draw that left knee in, maybe exhale, come into your twist. Doesn't matter how far you twist, you want to keep that left shoulder glued to the ground. Breathing space in the back side of the body. And coming back to center. Now left leg out, right knee in. Exhale, take it across, initiating mid-rib. Right shoulder glued. Couple more breaths. Engage the belly, inhale, come back to center. Maybe roll side to side. Any other thing that you need before you come into Shavasana? I'm gonna go for it. Hey, anything you need. Your inversion, doesn't matter, whatever you need. Again, you're going into that so hum. I am that. What do I need? What's my body need? Giving yourself that. And as you do make your way into Shavasana, if you're uncomfortable coming all the way into, laying down completely flat, you can always sit up, or you can take a blocks underneath your knees or a bolster underneath your knees, pillows, whatever you've got. As you move into that space. And we'll have a little experiment here with the bowls when I have these earbuds in. I'm not sure how this is gonna work. We'll see. All right, so as you settle into the earth, so focus on that breath once again, right? So notice the complete support of the earth beneath you, holding you up. You're not gonna fall through the floor. You've got complete safety there, super supported. And then having that inhale, so exhale, hum, along with that ebb and flow. Again, you can use this Sanskrit, so hum, or you can use inhale, I am, exhale, that, whatever you're more comfortable with. And every time the mind wanders, come back to right now, right here. Just stay in the room. Begin to deepen your breath, becoming aware of the earth beneath you, the air above you, and all the sounds around you. And slowly begin to wiggle your fingers and toes and move your head side to side as you bring movement into the body. Maybe drawing the knees into your chest one at a time. Move slowly, turn to your right side. Just take a couple of breaths there. Inhale, so, exhale, hum. Using that left hand to slowly press yourself up to a comfortable seated position. I'm bringing the palms to face inward towards the heart center. Repeating in your mind, with great respect and love, I honor my heart, my true teacher. I'm bringing the palms together in Anjali Mudra. We'll seal class with 3 ohms. You're welcome to join or listen. Inhale. Om.